Okay, salam alaikum, guys.
Walaikum salam warahmatullahi
Walaikum salam.
wabarakatuh.
So my nickname is N, and today we're going to talk about journey to finding Allah and reverts or reverts, but more Andrew Tate. So it's not necessarily reverts. I think more of the reason behind the topic is Andrew Tate becoming a Muslim and the sort of should I say confusion that a lot of people are facing and things like that. So for me, my journey to finding Allah is I think thinking back is sort of funny because um when I was young, I used to ask for the most interesting things, and then I would even forget about them. And then when I now see it, I'm like, oh, that prayer is it's been answered. Then I'll remember another ridiculous prayer. I'm like, yeah, Allah, no, I don't want that one again. That I think made me know that okay, Allah exists. And growing up in a Muslim home, so you understand that okay, yes, Allah exists and things like that. But being close to Allah, the what do I say? The knowing that okay, Islam is the religion and just general Allah consciousness. I think that one was more of the madrasa and everything. But going to school in the UK and going to school in the UK and seeing the way Islam was practiced there, I guess, as opposed to Nigeria, where I say this thing like in Nigeria, because we didn't struggle to get Islam, there is that way we sort of treat Islam. I guess is you can associate it with the way the Hausas, sorry, sorry, the Hausas treat Islam, the Arabs treat Islam. But going to the UK where they had to let people know that this is my religion, they had to fight for their rights. I think the way they love Islam, and you can see from the way they do it, that made me fall in love with Islam all over again. And I think that set me on that journey because you just see some things they do. They were very intentional. I think that's the word about Islam, and that helps me sort of find my Islam too. So who else is going to talk? That's like the sort of summary. So who's next? Who's gonna say their own next? Finding Allah.
Let me go. Hello, my nickname is Kay. Thank you, N, for that. Anyway, so for me, I'm so happy for you, and you got like you actually started falling in love with Islam at a very young age. Because for me, it came a bit later before I could like appreciate it. Because one thing I grew up with was the whole as Yoruba, like in-depth Yoruba Asalatu thing. And I used to be so irritated by it. I don't know why, but I was just like, is this really necessary? Like, why must we have to go to this every Sunday? Like, what am I doing here? Until my own parents started being like, okay, they started reading more about it, and they were like, yeah, we don't need to do this. We don't need to associate with this. But it's still something that they struggle with because I don't blame them. That's their training. But for me, the time I started appreciating Islam was like in my secondary school. Although like I've been going to like madrasa, I've been going to, but I was just like going with the motion that okay, yeah, I just have to do this. Not like I really appreciate it. So what happened was it was something very minute. It was like, okay, I wanted something, and I was like, I just said a fleeting prayer. I was like, yeah, Allah, let me get this. Yeah, like, oh, yes, I remember. I was looking for some papers that were very important to me at that point. And I was like, and I remember my mom was like, say Idina Sirat al Mustaqim when you're looking for something. And I just said it personally because I was like, okay, let me even say it for the sake of saying it out. Let's just see if anything will work. And like in 3 minutes, I found the paper after like searching. So from that moment, I was like, oh, more this this is real. This is how this thing works. And okay, then I started like reading. I started doing some self-development. So that I fell in love with it by myself. Like there's no like external influence as much as you would have expected from somebody that is going to Muslim primary school, that went to Muslim secondary school, that went to madrasa every Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, it was basically me just sitting down with myself and saying, wow, this is actually very, very amazing. So yeah, that's my story.
Mashallah, that's actually nice. So who's going next?
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, I think maybe I should go next. I'm
Okay.
not like the um I'm not the very conventional, or I don't know, I don't want to say conventional Muslim. I have like some ups and downs, so I'm still struggling a bit here. But I
Ah,
think what stood out for me, growing up also, they were deep into it. I lived with my grandma, so there was a lot of asalatu meetings, because I used to call them meetings. It's just like vibes and spending money. I'm planning big ass parties that was not really concern anybody. So it was like a bit for me. And then the whole nastiness of some madrasas, where the afal himself or themselves, they don't exactly know what they are supposed to be teaching or doing, and then just there's that. So I think, yeah, growing up it was not really appealing, because it was mostly you live. Then there was this double setting, because I went to a Catholic school, so there was, from school, something different was being taught. They respected Islam in my school, funny enough, because they always told us that, oh, it's a Lenten period. If you don't want to say this prayer, you can leave the assembly ground and all of these things. But the teachings are still like, they're still going to be there. They allowed Muslim prayers on Fridays. They allowed Muslims to play on Thursdays. But like, it's just like coming back from school, and then now you have to change your outfits. You have to wear a hijab, go to madrasa, and listen to another different religion. As a child, it was quite confusing. And then I'm like, just not interested in everything. I just believe that, well, anyhow, everybody will be fine. So at some point, I think I stopped going to the madrasa when I started school lessons, and then started to close around 6:30, because to an extent, my parents are training me to be a scholar or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, there, there was that. So I stopped going to madrasa. And another thing that maybe took me farther away would be that all the people that were age range at that point in time is that they were assaulted by some madrasa teachers, or they were pregnant at some point very early too. So there was that too. So I just like cancelled everybody and everything. And okay, let me now say, fast forward to the university. Yeah, I met some people, and then started going to the mocks again, say like year two. And I was just going. It was not that anything was changing per se in my head. I was just going, because I still had a lot of questions when it comes to that one. And to an extent, people always says that, oh, you can't be a Muslim and be a feminist. Then I said, oh, okay, since I can still survive without being a Muslim, but it looks like I might not survive without being a feminist. So I'll probably just hold on to the feminism aspect of it for now. So I guess later it just became a thing of, yeah, it's me and Allah. Whatever these people want to say, they can go ahead and say it. So let me just say, okay, when everybody's saying finding him, I think that's like where I'm supposed to run to. So say finding him. It's been funny for me, because like there's no single prayer here that I'll say that, oh, this was a prayer that brought me closer to him. I just knew that I have the kind of vibe, or there's an energy around me whenever I pray. And it's more or less like anything I ask for, I sort of always get. I've never had to struggle per se for something. And my family is not rich or anything, but I've never had to struggle. When people are like, oh, it's so difficult to get into the University of Lagos, this and that, people do this, people do that, and all of these things. I'll just like write exams and then just get in. I'll just like write exams in school also. Never had to struggle with, oh God, please don't let me fail. God, please don't. I've never, maybe that's why like I don't necessarily pinpoint like, okay, this was the prayer that caused it. But I've always known deep down that there's like a supreme power that accept all of these things. And so far, amongst all the religion, I'll say like I like to read a lot. So there's also that. And among all the religion, I just feel like Islam appealed to me the most. So maybe that's how that's my own finding story. Or maybe I'll still find something else later in later years. But for now, I just felt like this was the religion that appealed to me the most. It made the most sense for me. Except like, well, I have reservations as always, but yeah. So I think that's just it for me. Basically, I don't know if that does it as a finding story, but yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it does.
ooh,
Oh.
it does. Oh.
Okay.
Hey guys,
Hey.
I'm
Hey.
Z. Um, I I don't know about like finding a lot because I've always been Muslim, but I do remember one time when I was really young, and I think I cried when I heard about the Prophet Sallallahu. But I don't know if I was faking the tears or if it was genuine. I also like remember when I was younger, I whenever I went out, I used to remove my hijab. So when I finally like wore my hijab and I told my mom that I was gonna start and she was like, okay, you've chosen to start wearing your hijab, now you don't remove it. I was like, fine. And I've been wearing it since then. But my, you know, Islam has always been iffy up down. It's like, yeah, I know I'm Muslim, but I've not really been so practicing. I do pray sometimes I don't. It's always been a little up and down, but I think it was in, I'm gonna say 2021 that I really like felt connected and like, you know, it's not that I don't know that Allah has been always been there. It's just I don't know, came around. Because I really was in a dark space. I mean, when am I not? But I was like a dark space in 2021 and I just found myself praying my um 5 daily prayers from like the Ramadan of 2021. And I really wanted some things to happen. And I was like crying almost every day. And it wasn't that even prayers were accepted. It started at, okay, I'm just going to make sure I do my Ramadan prayers and fast and everything. And then it just continued. And one time, I do remember because I was even praying for some things and they were not being answered. And I was just getting rejections and stuff. But, I still kept praying. And one day I got rejected for something I really wanted on a Friday. And I was like so sad and so deep in my own dark space. But I just was like, okay, I'm going to keep trying everything because one annoying thing about me is if one avenue goes wrong, I find another way. Might be annoying to the people that I'm finding another way, but I just want to make sure I get some things that I want. So I tried like reaching out, but then I also like prayed for the whole weekend even harder. And on Monday, I slept and I woke up, and somehow the thing that felt irreversible was given. And it was just a wow, alhamdulillah moment. And somehow 2021, a lot of things that felt that they could not be done just came to pass. And there was absolutely no way any of those things would have happened without Allah. Now, does this mean that my religion has still not been up and down? It is currently also going through like some really weird situation. And some days I'm like, oh, I have faith in Allah. And then some days I'm like, why is Allah even going to give me this if, you know, I only come to Him when I need something, or my prayers and stuff have been like iffy and messy. So, but the thing is, lately at the back of my mind, whenever I talk to anybody, I end up praying for them, and it's very reflex, and I can imagine how annoying it might be for them. And I just in the back of my mind, I just like say, alhamdulillah, astaghfirullah. Whenever any little thing happens, I just be like, Ya Allah, please help me get this. If I'm late for something, Ya Allah, please, let them start early, or let them start late, or let me be accepted. And those little things always get accepted. And then so when a big thing doesn't get accepted, it's like, oh, maybe it's not supposed to be, or maybe something. So it's just a battle with myself. But eventually I still go back and cry to him and just pray that, his will is what I really want, and he makes it happen in the best way for me. So yeah, I I think I've found a lot in 2021, but it's still like a battle, and it's still like a daily up and down moment for me. But alhamdulillah always, and I pray he keeps, making me believe in him, because I do not want to see myself like not believing him anymore, because I'm not sure it would be so easy for me to go back. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, you guys. So